Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by Caoimhin Agyarko. Caoimhin, with Paul. First of all, how's things, brother?
All good, Andy. Can't complain. Started back to camp there 2 weeks ago. Matty just flew back to Belfast last night. Just had to come over and see some family, but everything's going well, so can't complain. Hope you're keeping well.
Well, as I was about to say that before, I wished how you were. As I spoke to Paul, and when Paul said, Paul Reddy from STN, he said to me, can you interview Caoimhin and stuff like that? And I said, listen, love to, because I'm a massive fan of him and what he's doing and stuff like that, man. You're doing everything right now, and signing with STN, what does that mean for your career, do you believe?
I have so much faith in Paul and Sean O'Toole, STN. I believe that they can bring me to the top of the sport and manage my career correctly and properly. I'm over the moon to be staying with them. It's a new chapter for me. And I feel like it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, like when you look at your career right now, I know you've had a little injury right there. I know you always train, even when you had like that boot on your ankle and stuff like. You're always in the gym and stuff like that. So how frustrating is it for you at this time? Obviously, are you injury free right now, and are you back in camp and are you looking for a date?
Yeah, I'm injury free. Obviously, my injury hasn't fully healed. It's still a bit sore now in the game, but in terms of being able to box and do other things, I can. I just can't really run at high speed just yet, but I started to bring myself into running last week. So I'm flying in camp at the moment. I've actually, like you said, I've had an injury, but I came back to camp the latest I've ever been. So while I had that time off with the injury, I said to myself, I need to stay active and not go back to camp 2 stone over, 2.5 stone over. So I've come back. I'm like 6 kilo overweight. Do you know what I mean? So everything's flying back to camp, and we're just in talks at the moment for a fight date.
That's the thing. You're on cruise control. I mean, your second to last fight there was against Robbie Chapman, and he was going the distance for everybody. He was giving everyone a good fight. You managed to stop him, and you seem to be getting these guys out of there quite big. And it's probably, I don't hope you don't be offended when I say this, but you're not the biggest of middleweights. So where does that power come from? I mean, you're in terms of height wise and shoulder and stuff like, you're not the biggest. So where do you generate this power from?
Yeah, do you know, I agree 100%. And I've always acknowledged that I'm not the biggest of middleweights, and everyone's thought, would that be a problem for me? And should I go down the light middle? But I've always been strong. I've always had that explosive power. I mean, I feel like I hit very hard. I haven't got that knockout, one punch knockout just yet, like I was doing towards the end of my amateur career. But I feel like my style of boxing, regardless whether it's that one punch or not, I will hurt you and I will close the show. I have that killer instinct, and you've seen that with the Robbie Chapman fight. I had him hurt, and as soon as I had him hurt, I closed the show. And there's not many fighters that have that kind of killer instinct, and that's something that I have and I can add to my game. So I know that I'm not the biggest of middleweights, but neither is Canelo Alvarez. He's 5'9", 5'10", which is what I am. Mike Tyson was 5'11" for a heavyweight. You know what I mean? So it's not always about size. As my amateur coach always said to me, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So I understand I'm not the biggest, but I use that to my advantages in there. And it I've always, through my whole career, whether it was middleweight or not, I've always had to fight people bigger than me. So I've been able to adapt my style to using that to my advantage.
Like I said to you, you're doing everything right at this moment in time in your career. Obviously, the injury came along, the ankle injury came along, and it's derailed you a little bit, but you're back in camp. So, but like a 9-0, 6 KOs, are you ready for that step-up opponent? That opponent where people are going to go, this Caoimhin in with somebody that's got a winning record in terms of he's beat this guy and that, and they can match you up perfect. You know what I mean? Like that type of guy when the fans are going to sit back and be like, now Caoimhin's in a fight. Can we see that probably, obviously working with Paul and STN? Do you think that will come sooner rather than later?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the Jez Smith was a fight that was a good step up, although Jez was stepping up in weight. It was someone who everybody knew everyone knows how good he is, and it was a good test for me. But in terms of, I feel like I'm miles above that level, and I agree. I do need that that name on my record for people to go, Caoimhin is the real deal, and prove to everyone, not prove just to myself, but prove to the boxing world that I am the real deal. And I feel like with Paul and STN that they will get me the right opportunities and the right fights at the right time. The only problem with that is nobody wants to fight me. I'm not going to go out here shouting names who's turned down the fights, but former world champion, challengers, British Commonwealth, European champions have all turned down the fight. We've had to go 15-0, turn down the fight. So it is very hard for me to kind of get fights, but I've got to remember that I am 9-0. I'm 24 years old. I've been a pro for 3 years.
Yes.
I am still learning. Listen, I rate myself very highly, and if I didn't, I wouldn't be wasting my time. I know how good I am and how good I can be, and I believe that I beat all these top contenders at middleweight in the UK. But it has to be the right time for me, and I have to. I think right now at this stage of my career, it's about learning to do the rounds, because my last 5 fights I have got them out of there relatively early. So it's about gaining that experience and learning to do the rounds and taking the right step ups at the right time. I don't want nobody with padded records. If you look at my record, I think I've fought 2 or 3 people with negative records, as where everyone else has had a winning record. So I don't want to be fighting big men or journeymen all the time or anything like that. I want to be fighting people who's going to come test me, because what's the point? I'll probably get harder spars. So there's no point me. I'm not gaining nothing by fighting people who aren't going to test me. So I do want to be in there with people who's going to test me, and I do believe that my team, Al Smith, Eddie Lamb, and Paul, and STM will guide my career in the right direction.
You said that you want the rounds. That sort of ties in with fighting that person that's been there and done it, sort of thing. Now, you look at the British rankings, the guys that are above you that are probably hovering around there, that have been in tough fights, that have been in good fights, are like the Sam Eglintons, the Mark Heffrons, the Denzel Bentleys and stuff like that. They're thereabouts. Obviously, they've had a little bit more wins than you. They've had more fights than you. And you mentioned that you are only 24 years old, so you are still a baby in terms of the professional game. You've only been pro for 3 years. Like I say, like, for me as well, when I look at you fight, you can ask Paul this, because Paul, I spoke to him on WhatsApp. I said, I'm a massive fan of yours. I believe that you can go all the way. I'm very, very, I keep a keen eye on your fights. I watch your fights all the time. So when I watch you fight, I'm like, I want to see Caoimhin in with this guy. I want to see Caoimhin in with that guy. Now, that's just me as a fan, but you mentioned Paul, Al Smith, Eddie Lamb. They're not going to push you in there right now if they don't believe you're ready. But you as a fighter, do you believe you're ready for these guys in the top 10 in the UK, top 5 in the UK maybe?
Yeah, without doubt. Listen, I appreciate the kind words and that you're a fan, but I'm ready for whoever's put in front of me. I'm not one to shy away from a fight. I'm a fighting man. I'm from Ireland, so I was born to fight. You know what I mean? And I believe in my yeah. I believe in my boxing ability and my skill set. So whoever's put in front of me, I know that I'll beat them, or I have the ability to beat them. It's just about going in there and doing it on the night. So I want them fights. I want people to see me in them tough fights and overcome adversity, and maybe whenever it starts to get tough in there, I can show the real Caoimhin and show how good I am. And I mean, there's so many fighters that even for my last fight that we offered a fight that are step ups, and people would question me for taking them fights at this stage of my career, and they're turning them down. So it is kind of hard. So we do need to find that balance where I'm not jumping into the deep end too soon, but I'm jumping into that that level where I'll show my how good I am. Do you know what I mean? And I want them fights. I don't want to be in easy fights. Do you know what I mean? I was disappointed in that last fight. I understood that it was meant to be for a WBC silver. We had a good opponent that was going to come and test me, and he pulled out last minute. So that last one we got someone a tough match with a winning record who had been in with good kids, and for me it wasn't a great performance because I was only getting started. I didn't really get to show what I've been practicing in camp, but he didn't come out for the 3rd round, and there's nothing I can do about that. Do you know what I mean? So I do want these tough fights, and I think out of my 5 stoppages, 3 or 4 of them have been in the 3rd round. So I want to be going past the 3rd round. You know what I mean? I want to be getting into them championship rounds and showing how good I am. Do you know what I mean? Because I train really hard, like you said at the start. Do you know what I mean? My last camp was 4 months, and to kind of have a 4-month camp to then go in and fight somebody who had beat with a hangover, there's no point. Do you know what I mean? So I do want them fights. I want them meaningful fights. And listen, like I keep saying to my team, I want to move quickly. I want to be the first Black Irish world champion. I want to be retired when I'm 30. So I'm 25 at the end of the year. I've got 5 years to achieve all my goals. So I'm gonna have to move relatively quickly. So my next fight, I hope it could be for a title and get myself in the top 10, top 15 in the world, and just keep on progressing from there.
You said to move quickly now. I'm looking at the fights now, and there's so many good names like Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Williams, Sam Eglinton, Felix Cash, the guys in the top 4 or 5, man. I mean, obviously Felix Cash being with Eddie might be a little bit harder fight to make and stuff like that, but things they have worked together in the past. But when I look at these guys like Liam Williams, for me, you against Liam Williams, brilliant fight. Would love to see it. You against Sam Eglinton, brilliant fight. Would love to see it. Man, Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, you and Chris.
I'm going to spar Chris next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, going to say he brung an ask for spawn, so I'm going to spar Chris next week. But yeah, all them fights will be entertaining fights. I mean, I feel like everybody wants to see me in them fights because of the Caoimhin Agyarko that they've seen of recent. But if you see the Caoimhin Agyarko that fought in Belfast in 2019, the slick head movement, fast feet, fast hands.
Was that at the Ulster Hall?
I was at the Ulster Hall.
Yeah,
you were there. I think you actually interviewed me that night.
Yeah.
People think that's the difference with me. I'm not just a hard-hitting, explosive middleweight. I like to use my boxing ability, my boxing brain, outthink people in there and adapt. And I keep saying this to everybody. I want someone that's going to come and bring that out of me. He's going to come and fight, and I can make them miss and counter. Because I describe my boxing style as I'm an aggressive counter puncher, but nobody's really seen that because I hit these guys so hard they go into a little shell, and then I'm having to go look for the stoppage, and they're not kind of engaging. So I mean, I have two sides to my boxing style, and I don't feel like anybody has seen the other side. If you come down and watch me spar, you won't see me go forward once. I'm a counter puncher, but them fights or them opponents that you mentioned, Liam Williams, I rate very, very highly. I think he's unbelievable. He's a nice guy, and there's no doubt two years down the line, or depending how quickly I progress, it could be a fight down the line. Sam Eglinton as well. I mean, a year to 18 months, I'll be ready for these guys. I'll be honest with you. I feel like technically I'm on the same level with them. Experience-wise, I'm not, and I'll be completely honest. I'm not ready for them experience-wise, but give me 2-3 tough fights, and I'll be ready for them, guys.
You mentioned being the first Black Irish world champion, and when you look at as well the champions in that division, it's not going to be an easy route for you to get there. I mean, with like Charlo, Andrade, Golovkin, I think Erislandy Lara's there or thereabouts as well. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned the guys in the UK. I mean, it's going to be a tough task to get to your dream and stuff like that. But obviously, you're fully confident in your ability.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, it's not an easy way, but to become world champion isn't easy anyway. So anything worth having in life isn't going to be easy, and I know how good I am and how good I can be. Like I've said, I'm 24, I'm still young. I want to be a world champion before I'm 28, defend it for 2 years and get out of the sport, but I've still got 3 years to get to that level and achieve that goal. So it won't be easy, but if you look at them guys, they kind of are they need to be world champions now or staying at that level now. As whenever I'm at that level, they could be past that, they could be gone. Do you know what I mean? But it just depends how quickly I progress, and it isn't going to be easy to become a world champion. I know that, but I'm fully confident and believe in myself and believe in my team that I will get to that level. And when the time's right, I will perform and prove to everybody what all the hype is about and how good I am.
You mentioned sparring Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, I know you sparred Billy Joe Saunders ahead of the Canelo fight and stuff like that. There's not going to be no conflict of interest there, is it, in terms of like letting out Billy's secrets and stuff like that?
No, you know, I hope not. Listen, I've got to do what's best for my career, but I'm good. I'm friendly enough with Billy Joe, and it was an unbelievable experience for me to go out there and help him prepare for the Canelo fight. Billy Joe's an unbelievable fighter, and I rate him so highly. I'd love to see him come back and fight Chris Eubank or win another world title, regardless who it's against. And I think he can do so. I think he has that ability and that style to still compete at the highest level. It's just about, does he still have that desire and ambition to want to come back and achieve it? But hopefully not. But listen, it is what it is. It's the boxing game, and spawn people like Chris Eubank, Billy Joe is only gonna improve me and get me that experience in sparring to be at the highest level.
You said you want to see that fight. Does Chris Eubank get his revenge, or will he repeat, or can you say? You sitting on the fence?
Billy Joe still beats him. Billy Joe still. Listen, it's boxing. Do you know what I mean? And I'll give my honest opinion. I feel like Billy Joe's one of the most talented fighters out there. I've seen it up close and personal. I've been in the ring with him. I know how good he is. And listen, at that level, it can go either way. Do you know what I mean? It's who performs on the night. But I just feel that someone like Billy Joe Saunders, his style is very hard to beat. I mean, he was beat by Canelo, but due to an Indian, and I actually had Billy Joe winning the fight by 1 round, although I thought Canelo was coming into the fight. And who knows where it would have went if it went the distance. But Billy Joe's only been beat by one guy, and he's the pound for pound champ. So
exactly.
It shows how good Billy Joe is, and he's a 2-weight world champion. Do you know what I mean? So he's not a 2-weight world champion for nothing. Him and Chris Eubank would still be an exciting fight, and still a very, very, very competitive fight. And it's one, I think, that who gets the tactics right on the night.
Caoimhin, you mentioned you are a proud Irishman coming from the fighting city of Belfast. And I was at the failure for Mick Conlon and seeing what he did at the Falls Park and stuff like this. There is no crowd like the Irish crowd when they get going and stuff like that, man. They're wild. For you, though, I mean, it must be a dream for you to get back home in Belfast and do your own thing. Similar to what Mick's doing, maybe in I don't know if it's still the Odyssey or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Sell out crowds in there. And what would it mean to you to get back home to Belfast, fill out an arena, get all your fans there, all the Irish fans going nuts, maybe for a world title, fighting for a world title? I mean, what would that mean to you?
It'd mean the world. I mean, it'll be a dream come true. Right now we're in talks of picking up a title before the end of the year and defending it back home next year and headlining a show somewhere like the Ulster Hall. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to jump into these big venues. I've got a great fan base. I get so much support from the Belfast and Irish fans, and it means the world for me. It makes me proud to come from this city. Do you know what I mean? We're a small country. I come from the heart of West Belfast, where the field is. Do you know what I mean? The Falls Park, a stone throw away is where I grew up, in Turf Lodge. That's where my amateur boxing club is. So to come back home and fight in Belfast and headline a show or fight for a world title, that's my dream. Do you know what I mean? Everyone says, where do you want to fight? Would it be in one of these massive venues in England, or go away to Vegas or Madison Square Garden, somewhere like that? I want to headline a show for a world title in Caoimhin Park, which is 2-minute drive from where I'm sitting taking this interview. So that would be an unbelievable achievement for me and mean the world to me. So that's my dream, and hopefully in the near future I can do that. And I feel like I deserve it to my fans and the Irish supporters who support all boxers, not just me, to bring big nights home, back to Belfast and back to Ireland, and give them a memorable night.
Definitely, mate. And listen, I'll be there. I'll definitely be there when you do that. Caoimhin, I won't keep you much longer. I do appreciate your time. I know you're back home. You obviously visit family and stuff like that. So, like I said, I won't keep you much longer. But I do appreciate you doing this for IFL TV. Hopefully, you're fully fit, 100%. You mentioned the injury there. Get back to training camp with the diva himself, Al Smith, and Eddie Lamb and stuff like that. Get back there, do your thing, and hopefully you get a date soon, man.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking time to interview me. And whenever I pick that world title up, you'll be the first interviewer.
There you go. I mean, see, that's love right there. Caoimhin, stick in, brother, man, and I'll speak to you soon, man.
Thanks very much. Take care, Andy.
Cheers, Caoimhin. Thank you.
See you later, mate. Bye.
See ya.